guys who have been on our webinars before know I like to touch on a few current events or some things that are going on that I see driving the situation that we're dealing with in the marketplace. So let's touch real quick here. The Patient Protection and Affordability Care Act, better known as Obamacare. It's in front of the Supreme Court right now. We're expecting a ruling maybe by June on that. You hear different things. Some experts say that the Supreme Court's going to uphold it. Some say it'll shoot it down by a close vote. Regardless of exactly how that vote goes, I think one thing that we all as planners and insurance and annuity professionals need to keep an eye on the trends and the far-reaching implications that this entire debate is going to have on our healthcare system and how we can help our clients evaluate their situation accordingly. And I know that's kind of vague, but really right now I don't think anybody, even the wisest of us, know where we're going to end up. But we do know that all of us, as we age, are going to need to be able to maximize our resources to take care of ourselves. And as you guys know, that's one of the things we specialize in here at SilverSide is asset-based care concepts. So this is just an item I think we all need to keep an eye on. Here's one other thing I think we need to keep an eye on: compliance and suitability. We all have probably multiple contracts with multiple carriers, and we know that we're getting more and more to fill out an application to get appointed with a carrier now. It's multiple pages. And where we used to be able to get appointed within 2 or 3 days, sometimes it takes a couple weeks now. There's more hoops that the carriers have to jump through, and accordingly there's more hoops that they need us to jump through. So that's one thing we need to continue to stay on top of. We see state training to sell annuities, usually recommended by the NAIC. We see company suitability training, company index training, annuity training, whatever the case may be. And here's another thing I added here is the Glenn Neesham case. I know most of you guys probably have heard of this. This was a California agent. I don't want to get into the whole details of it, but he is actually facing jail time for making a insurance transaction with a client that later was deemed to be not competent to make the transaction. So he is actually facing jail time. A lot of people think maybe he had bad representation. Some people think it was an overzealous prosecutor. But nonetheless, this points out the need. We need to be able to protect ourselves as agents. We need to do the most we can. A lot of people think Neesham got a bad rap, and maybe he did. But one thing we do here at SilverSide to help along those lines, we have an agent disclosure form that we recommend the agents have signed in front of their clients that clarifies the agent's role. The agent is not making tax recommendations, is not making investment recommendations, is not making anything outside the scope of their authority. So you need to, if you want that, we have that available here at SilverSide. Give us a buzz and we can shoot over. It's not a SilverSide form. We don't give legal advice, but this is something we think maybe agents should consider using as a tool. So next time you're on with your marketer here at SilverSide, ask them for our agent disclosure form. It's not our agent disclosure form. It's just a version of one that we think maybe would help your situation. So enough of that. Let's move along here. I have hot products. I usually touch on a few things on a webinar such as this, but today I just have one I want to talk about. and that is the Sagicor 9-year fixed indexed annuity. We're going to start a promotion on this April 1st. Get with your marketer on that. I don't want to roll it out today ahead of the game, but we're going to be offering a little promotion for sales on the Sagicor 9-year fixed index annuity. Hot features on this: it has a 5% immediate vested bonus, which for a 9-year product is very competitive in this day and age. It has a 4.5% S&P annual point-to-point, which is very, very competitive in this day and age. We also have 10% free withdrawals accumulate to 50%. This makes this the most liquid annuity you're going to find out there. 9-year product, if you don't take a 10% free withdrawal at the end of year 1, you can take 20% at the end of the year 2, and that accumulates all the way up to 50%. Very, very liquid product, gives your client a lot of flexibility. And one other feature that you're not going to find very often, if ever, 2% guaranteed rate. Now, I'm not talking about the fixed strategy you can allocate to. This product has an embedded 2% guarantee. If you allocate to the S&P point-to-point and it gets you 0 crediting year after year, you can fall back on that guarantee. Your surrender value is still guaranteed to grow at 2% a year, regardless of how your other strategies are working. It's an amazing feature. Actually, you can call us. We can illustrate this on a company-sponsored illustration platform. So we can get you a Sagicor illustration that's going to show a positive surrender value after year 2. Very, very liquid product. Very competitive. No MVA on this. With bond rates as low as they are, we're probably going to see, I don't know how many of you planners out there have been looking at positive MVAs on annuities that were issued several years ago when bond rates were higher and now they came lower, so that actually the MVA effect works to your client's advantage. Well, now as low as bond rates are, they're probably not going to be able to go a whole lot lower. So no MVA is going to be a hot feature. If the client ends up in a situation where they do actually have to surrender that early, which we would plan against, obviously, but in an emergency situation, no MVA on this. This product also has your typical nursing home waiver for confinement and for health issues. You can get out of the surrender charge on that too. But with the 50% cumulative withdrawal, it's going to be very, very liquid regardless of what your situation ends up being. So enough on that, but do look for the promotion coming from Sagicor. Begins April 1. This product, we're getting a lot of sales in it, and hopefully Sagicor is going to be able to keep it on the market in this tough rate environment. We're going to work with it as long as it's available because it's really head and shoulders above most everything else you'll see. So with that, I think I've probably gone on enough. Let's see if Grayson is here. Grayson,
I'm here.
Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay, are you ready to move along here?
Let's do it.
Let's see if
I'm going to go pretty quickly here today. We're talking about maybe half an hour. Go ahead and type questions in if you have them, and we're going to try to get those addressed before we end the webinar. But we've got a pretty good crew, so follow with me if you can. Also, write our number down, 480-998-1286, and give us a call after the webinar if we don't get your questions answered. But like Rick was talking about, really what I'm going to go through from a 10,000-foot view today is the asset-based care products that are available on the market today, and it's really, really important to just understand the basic concepts. I'm not going to show you, I'm not going to try to sell you one product. I'm going to show you a concept. We're going to show a couple of products specifically, but just so that this situation takes a little bit better shape in your mind. But really what we're dealing with, guys, is a landscape that's changing for the retirees in America. 70% of seniors are going to need some sort of long-term care. That's not my statistic. That's from the Wall Street Journal. And with an aging America, more people in that age group, this could be the next financial crisis, and a lot of people are starting to talk about it. And the reason it could be a financial crisis with so many people needing some sort of care, and 90% of them have no private long-term care coverage insurance. Medicare is not going to pay these costs. So it is an absolutely staggering situation that we're dealing with. In aging America, 90% of people don't have coverage, and some of the standalone long-term care insurance carriers, the John Hancock types, a lot of them are leaving the long-term care coverage insurance space. They're leaving. So there's a huge void here, guys, and I'm going to show you after, you know, kind of showing you a horrible problem. I am going to show you a solution. But at the end of the day, you have a lot of seniors that haven't planned for long-term care situation, even though 70% of them are going to need some help. And it's going to end up devastating to their finances and to their family's finances as well. So when I do workshops around the country about long-term care and the pending crisis in America, really, I will always ask a group of seniors, retirees, even some baby boomers, you know, age 50 plus, hey, why don't you have coverage? Statistically, 90% of you don't. Why not? Universally, number one response I get is that it's too expensive. Okay. But even beyond that, past the costs, if you don't use it, you lose it. That's what's in a lot of your retiree clients' minds. They, you know, they don't look at this like they look at homeowners insurance. They don't want to deal with a burnt down house and no insurance, but yet somehow it just hasn't been addressed because it's a very difficult topic to talk about, the long-term care insurance situation. Also, they will mention to me, you know, it's kind of confusing the kind of what sort of coverage one of these long-term care policies actually has. What is paid for? Do I have to be in a nursing home? So that can be confusing, and there's a lot of fine print, and believe me, if you've been through some of these contracts, it can be confusing. But also the underwriting can be pretty intimidating for seniors. Your retirees, they have in their minds that the insurance companies want only the people in pristine health, and they're kind of nervous to go through underwriting. They've had a couple of issues, so that can be an issue as well. We put this little caricature together, which I get a kick out of. Let me bring this back up. I put this caricature together because this long-term care, this healthcare cost situation is the pink elephant in the room. And in our little caricature, we've got a retiree reading about the reduction in Medicare benefits in the 12th hour, and healthcare costs are eating up everything that he's worked so hard to put together. So what is the solution? I just showed you the horror show of what's going on. And now I want to show you specifically an annuity solution. This is asset-based care. So if your client doesn't have or isn't really interested in long-term care, standalone long-term care insurance, make them understand that there are some alternatives out there. Tax law just changed in 2010. It's part of the Pension Protection Act from 2006. But seniors can take withdrawals from specially designated annuities income tax-free if it's triggered for long-term care. And people say to me, well, Grayson, a lot of those costs can be written off in a tax situation anyway. Absolutely true. But when you consider the power of 1035ing old annuities with big tax-deferred gains into an annuity that leverages up, and it can leverage up to 5.5 times, guys, absolutely huge leverage, and it's completely income tax-free for long-term care. It's a powerful tool, and I'm telling you, we're going to go into some more specifics on this. If you have, this is one thing if you take from our webinar today, take this, write this down. If you have retirees with older annuities And when I say older, I mean down to 3, maybe 4% surrender charges or older, and some big tax deferred gains and your client has no long-term care coverage, you have to show them this product, or somebody else is going to. It can be an absolute no-brainer for specific client situations. So I'm going to show you one of them specifically that Rick and I like to put in front of our clients. But understand, call us. Everyone's situation is different. I'm going to show you one of these annuities just so it takes better shape in your mind.
Hey, Grayson, can I interject real quick for a second there? One other effect that we might want to keep an eye out for is positive MVAs. So I was talking a little bit ago about the product with the no MVA. As low as bond rates have gotten, as you're out there reviewing your client's situations, a lot of times they might have a few years of surrender left. They might have 5, 6, 7%. I was working on a case yesterday with a 10.5% surrender charge. The MVA wiped that out. So net of MVA, they were going to be positive. So that's one thing as you're reviewing clients. And if they do have older annuities that aren't out of surrender, or maybe even if they are, but if they're not out of surrender, you might want to call into the carrier or have your client call in and see what their net of MVA surrender might be. There might be a little bit of windfall there that nobody even knows about.
Absolutely, and that's a good point. And guys, if that doesn't really make sense to you, give us a call, and we can walk you through how to check any market value adjustment that your client's annuity may have. This particular one's coming out of an A-plus carrier, 130 years old. They really take pride in being on the cutting edge of asset-based care. So you're really starting at the top here. Single premium deferred fixed rate annuity. I'm guessing most people are pretty familiar with how those work, but there's a built-in continuation of benefits for long-term care. So kind of like if you're familiar with the income riders, there's a giant income rider on this thing for long-term care. Withdrawals are completely non-taxable if triggered for long-term care related expenses. So there are really two pools of money. There's an accumulating annuity that your client can use for anything, typical 10% surrender charges. They can use for anything, but there's another account, like I said, kind of like those income riders. There's a pool of money that your client can use for long-term care as well. It can be single or joint. It can be single, and I highlighted this, single with an eligible person. So if we're considering the tax situation and you have a client, you have retirees, they have to be husband and wife, but let's say just one of them has a large annuity that has some big tax deferred gains, and you really don't want to, you're worried about moving it into a joint account because that would be a taxable event. You don't have to. With this product, you can 1035, like for like. Let's say it's the husband's annuity, transfer it to his name, 1035 style, but he can then add his wife as an eligible person. Not going to happen too often, but when you run into this situation, a lot of times a light bulb's going to go off over the head of your clients, and they're going to be really excited that you showed them this potential. I'm sorry, guys. I got a little bit ahead there. Let me back up. I want to put some numbers on it so that it'll take better shape in your mind. But again, everyone's situation is different. So we're going to give you an actual form that you can fill out with your clients, that you fax it back to us, and we will get you illustrations. We will casework with you to show you the best of what can be provided to your clients. But take a look right here. Let's say you have a 65-year-old client. She's got an older annuity. She really doesn't intend on using it for income, but she's got no long-term care coverage. You 1035 it in, and after a year, she has an accumulation value of a little over $100,000. Not impressive, but that's not the core competency of this strategy. Really look at line 2 there, the continuation of benefits. $455,000 of the insurance company's money, kind of like an income rider, is there for her use for long-term care. So she has a total value of $556,000 that she can use. In this particular case, it works out to 11 years of monthly benefits, and tax-free again, guys. I backed up. Sorry. Fast forwarding 10 years, just to show you there is some accumulation. After year 10, she's got $103,000 in this case. The continuation of benefits continues to grow, and it'll grow contractually at a higher rate, just like those income riders. Now she's got over $616,000 that she can use for long-term care. Do you think that might cover a situation where she has Alzheimer's and needs help for a number of years? That's exactly what this does. It covers the worst of the long-term care situations. So I show you that pool of $600,000. How would she access that? A portion of that money will be paid out monthly up to 138 months. And that is a case-by-case specific situation. Cash benefit. Now, this can be priced out as an indemnity, which can be huge. If you're not familiar with the difference between a reimbursement and indemnity, just in a nutshell, reimbursement's exactly that. Your client spends money on long-term care. The insurance company reimburses them. An indemnity, there's simply a number that your client has that they're going to get every month if they're spending anything on long-term care. So an indemnity really helps maintain your client's independence. The trigger is if they need help with 2 out of 6 activities of daily living or they're cognitively impaired. That's pretty standard in the insurance world today. They don't have to be in a nursing home. So, to rewind, when I'm standing in front of a group of retirees and I talk about long-term care, the reason it's such a difficult topic to talk about is almost universally, when they think of long-term care, they think of a nursing home, and nobody likes that. No one likes that. And then what happens after the nursing home? Well, they're gone. So it's a difficult topic. If you can start it off on a better foot where you can say, hey, you have some older annuities, we can turn tax deferred and tax free. And on top of that, you don't have to go to a nursing home. We can help you stay in your own home. There's no waiting period on this product. There is a 90-day elimination period, which is pretty standard as well. Now, if you're typically selling annuities and you're not that familiar with underwriting, do not let the underwriting intimidate you on this product. It's more concise than traditional long-term care. Basically a phone call. More details, call us and we'll go through it. I need to speed up and catch up a little bit here. Just do not let the underwriting of this, it's simplified, don't let it be intimidating. So now your clients can instantly increase their rainy day savings up to 550%. The rainy day savings is, hey, I don't need this money for day-to-day, month-to-month expenses, but if I need help, if something health-wise happens, that's the rainy day savings. You can leverage it up huge and turn tax deferred into tax free. Can be priced as an indemnity also, so that they're simply getting a tax free income stream every single month. So, a lot of information here. I'm kind of talking about it from 10,000 feet, but just to try to build a bridge between the idea and how you're going to get in front of your clients and have something good to show them. What is that bridge? Some of the catchphrases, some of the things in my experience talking about asset-based care with retirees. If you don't use it, you don't lose it. The money is still there for your estate. Maybe your client is one of the lucky 30%. They just get called home in the middle of the night. The money is still there for their estate. The grandchildren can still go to college, even at these tuition costs. 1035ing from old annuities, like I talked about earlier, that's huge. You're leveraging up and turning tax deferred into tax free, and you can do partial 1035s too. So if that kind of leverage would create overkill, if your client has a $500,000 annuity, you can do partial 1035s. You can add an eligible person. So I'm trying to give you some ideas. Just go through in your mind some of the clients, existing clients you have. If that fits their situation, where one of them has an older annuity, one of a married couple has an older annuity, and neither of them have long-term care coverage. It's huge. You need to put this in front of them. I don't want the asset-based care products, annuity, or we're going to talk about one of the life products here in a minute. I don't want them thought of as the consolation prize. But in the real world, it happens. People get turned down for standalone long-term care. Well, you can get coverage here. They don't have to be in pristine health, and we even have some products that require no underwriting but provide some long-term care coverage. So if you don't show these products to your clients, somebody else is going to. Okay? I want to talk about a life product here, but Rick, was there anything you wanted to consolidate on the annuity?
No, why don't we move along here? I got a few questions coming in, and we can probably address most of those towards the end if you don't cover them here in the next few slides.
Okay, so lots of different opportunities out there, and that's why I want you to call in, get our asset-based care questionnaire. It's a one-pager that you can sit down with your clients or even potential clients, and it's going to help you understand their situation. You fax that to us, and we'll show you what's available out there for your clients. And one of the most important things to understand is in your client's situation, let's say they have no coverage for long-term care. They do have assets. Well, if something medical-wise was going to happen to them, what money would they use? Where is that existing long-term care coverage financing? And that's going to help us determine the best situation for them. I just talked about how if you have clients with older annuities, tax deferred is great, but tax-free is unbelievable. So that's kind of a no-brainer. But what if, let's say you have the same 65-year-old lady who's a client, she has a CD coming due, $100,000 CD, and she's sick of 0.6% or whatever the rate is out there right now. Well, here's another idea. Again, there's some simplified underwriting on this one, but using a life insurance product. And the important thing, before I even go into this, when you're discussing these products with your clients, I told you to write down tax deferred to tax free. That's a huge thing. Another thing, because I will be standing up in front of a group of maybe 30 or 40 retirees, and I will mention life insurance, and their eyes will roll. And they will say, Grayson, I'm retired. I don't need any life insurance. The kids are long out of college. The house is paid for. What do I need life insurance for? I don't want to keep paying all those premiums. I don't need it. That's just for an insurance guy to make money on. Well, here's another thing to write down, guys. Tell your clients before you even go down this road, life insurance is changing. Okay? What I'm about to show you, say this to your client, what I'm about to show you is life insurance that you don't have to die to use, and you don't have to keep paying premiums in, and you don't have to worry about the value of it going down. You tell them that, and call me and I'll go through that list again, but if you tell them that, you just addressed just about every issue they're going to have with this strategy, okay? Because it's a single premium life product. You have a 65-year-old lady, she has a CD coming due, doesn't need the money for day-to-day expenses. She doesn't have any standalone long-term care coverage. So you bring it into this life product, single premium. She gets an instant 10% bonus. She has $110,000 of net premium day one, almost doubles her money immediately, $186,000 guaranteed. She doesn't have to keep paying premiums. It's not on a UL chassis that all of a sudden she's 83 and she has to pour more premiums into to keep the death benefit. That's guaranteed. You almost doubled her money overnight, tax-free. Now, in this low interest rate environment, what strategy can beat that? Well, how long would you have to be in one of the annuities out there to almost double the money after tax? A long, long time. And look, this thing can be indexed for growth without risk. It does have stock indexing, no downside risk. That's a guaranteed death benefit. but there can be growth to it. And no extra licensing on your part. You don't need a Series 7, Series 6 to sell this. There's no downside risk. Okay, great. Your client says, you just doubled my money tax-free overnight. What good does that do me? It's life insurance. Well, the next line, check it out. $6,000 chronic illness benefit paid out monthly over 33 months to her. The policy has to be enforced for a year. But you just doubled her money. She can still use that money for herself for the only reason she would have used it anyway. If she needed help, it's a no-brainer. So really, the death benefit becomes the new cash value, and you almost doubled her money tax-free overnight. If she gets called home, she's one of the 30% that just passes away in the middle of the night. Her kids get a larger and a tax-free inheritance. It's win-win for everybody. Chronic illness benefit, again, she doesn't have to go to a nursing home. If she just has a licensed physician sign off that she needs help with 2 out of 6 activities of daily living, in this case, that $6,000 check is going to come every month for 33 months. It's an indemnity, not a reimbursement. She doesn't have to justify that $6,000 check every month. She doesn't have to show them that she spent it on long-term care. Doesn't have to justify it. Now, again, this policy does have to be available for a year, and really what we're doing is accelerating a death benefit back to the policyholder. Is really what we're doing, and the maximum is $250,000 for that. Now, let's say the death benefit does grow. It's indexed and it grows to $300,000. She accelerates $250,000 back to herself for long-term care. There's still $50,000 there, tax-free for her estate. So, instantly increase your client's estate while decreasing the estate's taxability. The heirs are positioned for a larger tax-free inheritance, and you are helping your clients maintain control. They maintain their independence. This money, they don't have to go to a nursing home. They didn't lose control of this money. In some of your clients' situations, especially with CD rates this low, that's kind of the ideal source of funds, but not the only one. It can be literally a no-brainer. Now, and I know I'm pouring a lot of information on you guys, but when you're talking to clients, retirees or near retirees, they don't have to be retired yet. 50-somethings need to think about this because this is truly an investment first. Like I said, they don't have to die to use this money. It's truly an investment first, but it's tax advantaged for that healthcare situation. It's win-win. So when you're talking to your near retirees, baby boomers or retirees about these asset-based care products, again, the source of funds is really important. You know what to show them if they've got an older annuity that has tax-deferred gains, turn tax-deferred into tax-free. I just showed you a classic situation with a $100,000 CD. Well, what if you have the same 65-year-old female client? Her source of funds that she doesn't need for month-to-month expenses is her IRA. Let's say she has a $100,000 IRA. Well, now what do? You cannot put pre-tax money straight into life insurance. We have strategies. Here's a powerful one. We are going to take her IRA, let's say same 65-year-old lady, $100,000 IRA. You move it into a pre-tax immediate annuity, and it's going to pay out for 7 years. Okay? Now, this is not tax avoidance. This is not tax evasion. She's going to get 1099'd every year. She's going to get roughly $16,000 a year coming out of this immediate annuity. But that's going to pay the premiums for a 7-pay version of the life product I just showed you. We're just stretching the payment stream out because it's coming out of an IRA. And we're stretching her tax liability out over 7 years. She doesn't have to pay one giant lump sum to the IRS. So she gets an instant $176,000 death benefit. And the premiums coming out of the immediate annuity, so it kind of becomes two sales in one. The premiums are going to come out for 7 years out of this annuity, but the insurance company has it automated. So you don't have to worry about being at your client's kitchen table when the annuity check comes in. Now we have to write a check to the life policy. You don't have to do that. It's really two sales that are put into one. Okay, so she's instantly got a tax-free $176,000 guaranteed death benefit. The same growth without risk as I just talked about, as you see the numbers there, if the future equals the past, $263,000. So some good growth without risk. And really, this kind of turns into an alternative to a Roth rollover, because really what you're doing is spreading tax liability out over 7 years. She still has access to that death benefit. She didn't lose control of this money. This is an indemnity policy again, so she doesn't have to be in a nursing home. She just gets a check every month. And it's on a whole life chassis again, so there's no downside risk to that instant death benefit. Now, because there are 7 premiums, there's more flexibility than the single premium policy. It's not a modified endowment contract, if that does make sense to you. So she can take, after 7 years, she can start taking money out of the cash value for whatever reason. Doesn't have to have anything to do with health care, long-term care, anything like that. So there's some great tax advantage flexibility because it is a 7 premium policy. So I want you guys to sit with this concept for a second, because I'm sure you've talked to a number of potential clients that really the money that they don't need for month-to-month expenses is in an IRA. Well, they don't really look at that until, let's say they have a $100,000 IRA. They think of that as maybe $70,000 of really their money because they owe taxes. And a lot of them are very nervous to take money out because of the tax situation. With this strategy I just showed you, you are taking a pool of a $100,000 IRA. Instead of turning it into a smaller pool of after-tax money, you're turning it into a larger pool of after-tax money. Think about that. A pool of pre-tax money they still owe, becomes a larger pool of after-tax money. That's a pretty powerful concept. Now, the idea of filtering IRA money into a life insurance policy for wealth transfer, that concept isn't new. That's been going on for years and years. What is new is the easy access, very liberal access to that death benefit for health issues for the policyholder. So you're turning pre-tax money into after-tax benefits. Again, life insurance you do not have to die to use. So really powerful concept. Write that part down too. And really what I want you to do now, guys, is give us a call, 480-998-1286. Write that down. Really the bridge, so from the concepts we just talked about to how do I sit in front of a client or potential clients and really make the case take shape. Well, fill out with your client our or asset-based care questionnaire, and it's going to identify all those different situations I've been talking about for the last half an hour. You get that back to us, and we will give you an idea of what the best products available for your client's specific situation it is. Rick, are there some questions we need to address here?
Well, I think we got over a lot of what was coming in for questions on the last few slides there. So we have a number of questions about state availability, and I've tried to shoot back some answers, through the GoToWebinar format here to a few people who had specific questions about state. As far as the products Grayson was talking about, they're pretty widely available. 40, 50, or 40-something states for the annuity product he was talking about. The life product, we have a few different carriers that we use from time to time. So those are widely available. The Sagicor products are available in, I think, 40-something states. The One America State Life, the Asset Care, the life product from One America is very widely available. There's only a few states where that's restricted. And as far as the Sagicor annuity product I was talking about, I got a number of questions about state availability there. I think I answered everybody individually, but that's available in, I think, 43 states. So most of this
product
is widely available.
Yeah, that product, that annuity, just having nothing to do with long-term care, but that annuity out of Sagicor right now is the best thing on the market, guys. You have to put that in front of some of your clients. They're going to love it.
Yep. So with that, I think we've pretty much addressed things. Everybody feel free to give us a buzz, and we can clear up anything else. We can help you design your cases once you get some information on your asset-based care questionnaire. Also, don't be shy to ask us for that version of the disclosure form that we think agents should probably use to protect themselves. That's between the agent and their clients and the regulators. That's just SilverSide that offering that as a recommended service. We have a number of things along those lines too, so don't be shy to ask about that. Anything else you need to cover today, Grayson?
I think that's about it, unless there are any more questions.
I think anything left is probably case-specific stuff that would be easier to answer on a one-on-one basis. So
thanks, guys.
With that, let's wrap up. I'd like to thank everybody for attending today, and give us a buzz, and we'll work with you on a one-on-one basis. Thank you very much. Take care.